There we go. All right. But yeah, it's kind of a whiplash weather. Like it was like triple digits yesterday.
Yeah, 107.
And 107. Dear God. But yeah, it got hot. And then like after like about 10:30, I essentially just like I was like, okay, I'm starting to sweat. Time to go back in the house. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can't do it.
And then today it's a little windy, but it's overcast and 70, which for here is perfect. Like, absolutely perfect. Yeah. I mean, you can't get away from the wind. This is the Texas Panhandle we're talking about, but
that is true.
But nope, I've just been working on projects behind the scenes. Been fun, keeping me busy, keeping me out of trouble.
There you go.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. But okay. But yeah, think of it as a 2-hour hangout. We talk about everything and anything, and I know that we'll have plenty of stuff to talk about. So
okay.
Yeah, you'll dig it.
It'll be good.
It'll be good because you're on here. So
thanks, Tyler.
You betcha. Like I've never and I don't want to jinx it now, but I've never had a dud show. I never had a dud. But it's because all the people I bring on, you included, like everybody's all interesting. Everybody has cool stories to share. It's that's and everybody knows something about something. So
yes, and you must be steering it the right way too. You gotta make it fun and ask good questions.
Yep. True that. True that. Yeah, that's the fun part. But all right, we'll open up the curtain. There's Luke right there. I'm gonna pop on here in a second. There I am. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Unfiltered podcast. This is kind of our July 4th edition. Not to, knock you off for a loop or anything, Luke, but yeah, like I don't really plan on wanting to do a show the day after the 4th of July. So I figured, you know what? Let's just hang out. We'll talk some West Texas A&M. We'll talk some high school sports. We'll talk about some OU Sooners.
You found a proud American that loves
proud
sports.
American, yeah,
loves
absolutely.
Family, loves God, loves people.
Yes, 250 years and still going strong. In the words of Ricky Stanzi, a beloved Hawkeye quarterback. America, love it or leave it. So
there you go.
But all right, I got a very special guest with me today. This is Lucas Kinsey, otherwise known as the voice of the West Texas A&M Buffaloes and Lady Buffs. Luke and I go back quite a few years, actually.
Yep.
Big Oklahoma Sooners fan, which kind of sweetens the pot with both of us because, Canadian product Ben Arbuckle is the offensive coordinator. Hopefully, I don't jinx it between when we record and when we have the show. So I don't think there's going to be any problems. We know both of us know Ben well enough to where he'll steer clear from trouble. But
I think he's going to be just fine. Actually, last night I believe he was in Omaha cheering on. I say last night. The Sooners are playing in the College World Series, and they defeated Georgia, and Ben was there along with some Sooner legends.
Ooh.
I was told Barry Switzer, Bob Stoops, and the Sooners' new athletic director. So I think Ben is doing just great for himself over in Norman.
I think so too. I mean, and I don't know if you watched the Lance episode yet, but he had a really good story about Barry Switzer when he hung out with Barry Switzer for a night.
I'm sure he did.
Oh, it was glorious. Yeah. But to give a little more weight to Luke being on the show with me. I mean, it's a big thing to be the voice of the West Texas A&M Buffaloes and Lady Buffs. My alma mater, Stampede, baby.
That's right.
Stampede, baby. And then, but also like you do a lot of radio work for West Plains, which is
TPS,
yeah, which is really cool. And then there's and then you work with Canyon ISD as well. So
correct.
But no, like I want it from your own words. So let's, I'm sure you like long walks on the beach because we just talked about that before going live.
Yeah.
So yeah, Luke, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Tyler, for me, it starts with my family, and just being grounded in my faith. I have been really blessed to meet a lot of great people in my life, and certainly a big part of what I do now does revolve around sports, and obviously with West Texas A&M and with the Texas Panhandle Sports Network, and getting to be a broadcaster and meet some amazing people. But like I said, I feel very fortunate to have kind of been on the journey that I've been on. I came to Canyon in the fall of 1999. Had just graduated high school from Big Beaver, Oklahoma.
Oh, nice! The bustling metropolis of Beaver. Heck yeah.
That's right. They've got great stockyards over there in Beaver,
nice.
The cow chip capital of the world. And but I came to WT because of their broadcasting department, and I knew that that's exactly what I wanted to do, and just fell in love with not only West Texas A&M, but I fell in love with Canyon and the Texas Panhandle, just the people that were here. And honestly, that's what has kept me here. And again, that's what has just been so cool for me is through the different sports, whether it be players, whether it be coaches, good friends that I've made over the years, just great things that I've been able to see and be a part of, and share it with this community, because this, Tyler, from being here in the Texas Panhandle. People love big here. I mean, they love a lot of things. They love their sports, but they love to get behind their teams, especially here in Canyon with West Texas A&M. They go out and cheer for the Buffs and Lady Buffs, but they want to get to know those players and those coaches and treat them like family.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been the biggest thing for me that has been a blessing, is getting to be a small part of all of these different programs, which for me now feel like families.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's crazy is that West Texas A&M over the years has brought on a lot of like future legends, I would say.
Yeah.
And also at the same time, like, there's been players that have went on to bigger and brighter things.
Right.
I mean, we just mentioned Ben Arbuckle. Like, I mean,
yes.
I remember him transferring in as a quarterback, and I remember snapping pictures of him. And I posted one like years later, and Kale noticed it, and he was like, "So what were you doing, Ben?" And Ben was probably like, "I'm running for my life." I was probably running for my life in that photo. But no, there was a lot of great people have come through West Texas A&M. I'm not just saying that just because I went there.
Right.
But a lot of people that have at least made a stop at West Texas A&M went on to do real big things. And maybe West Texas A&M, if you're watching this, you could put that on a recruiting video, but no, like it's a very special place. I initially, so here's some fun lore about me, Luke, is I came down in 2007, and I was originally going to go to Tech. I was originally going to go to school down in Lubbock. Mom at the time worked for the hospital up in Amarillo, and the tuition was going to be like reduced for anybody that works within the Texas A&M system. And what happened was my stepdad got in a motorcycle accident. He was laid up. Mom had to leave work. And then I was like, okay, all right. So what do I do now? And I ended up working full time for a few years. Shout out Coulter Gardens for getting me through most of that time period. And then when I hit my 24th birthday, because you had for FAFSA, if you're filing a loan, you have to wait until you're 24 if you file your own taxes. And I remember on my 24th birthday, because I visited both AC and WT. I had better vibes from WT than AC. Now that's not anything on AC. Like my subsequent visits to AC have been overwhelmingly positive. So maybe just young naive me just didn't see the whole picture. But I felt better vibes at WT. So when I remember on my 24th birthday, I woke up and the first thing I did was file the FAFSA and then file the application to go to West Texas A&M. And it was a journey. I started off as kind of a history major, and then I morphed into broadcast journalism. But I would say that WT has been a big part of my life. It still is, because no matter where I go, I still have to check in and see how the buffs are doing, how the lady buffs are doing. No matter the sport, just because I've covered enough sports at West Texas A&M. I know football always gets the most prestigious beat, but you can't forget like how good like the track programs are at West Texas A&M. You can't forget about how good the softball program is at West Texas A&M.
Volleyball.
And volleyball. Yeah. And I was there when I was covering when Scotch was there. And Scotch was a character. Like, I enjoyed him. And he enjoyed me, like, which was great. And
he would be great for your podcast, by the way.
He would be amazing. Yes. I need to reach out to him. But yeah, like it's West Texas A&M has been and probably will forever will be a huge part of my life, even if I cover like, dream schools like Iowa or Iowa State or UNI. I'd be like, well, I'm still a buff at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And in a kind of a weird little way, sometimes you have to root for Texas A&M, even though it pains you to sometimes. But I just say, hey, you're cool as long as you don't root for UT. So,
and that's one of the many reasons why you and I get along so great.
That's right. That's right. Well, I had a good friend. He was a pro wrestler and he was a big OU fan. So whenever I wore Oklahoma State stuff, like he would be like, "You need to take that off."
Get that orange off.
Like, no, orange is not part of the vocabulary here, but no, it's really cool. And I feel like, WT has made a really great investment in the facilities, and that's probably by design. I remember when I was still in school, I was able to kind of, do a nice little interview with Michael McBroom, who's now at Stephen F. Austin, and he's doing really good. And I saw him last time he was in Canyon, which was great. Like he had this vision, and I know some people disagreed with the vision, but I saw it, and I was like, you know what? You want an on-campus football stadium? Yeah, I want that too. It was just a shame that it got built after I left school, like. But one of the best D2 football stadiums in the entire country, no bones about it.
Absolutely. And the thing about when they were building that stadium, there were a lot of fans and a lot of people in the community that were holding on to Kimbrough, and they had their reasons, in doing that. Tyler, I mean, Kimbrough, or now Happy State Bank Stadium, is a very special place.
It is.
It's unbelievable. In fact, just real quick to share this, I mentioned family and faith being so important to me. I actually met my wife out at Kimbrough during college. Junior year. I think we were over watching a volleyball game or something like that, and afterwards it was on a Friday night and there was some football going on. So I went with some buddies out to the football game, and that's where I met Chelsea. And so Kimbrough, special place. But I think that you are exactly right in what Mr. McBroom, what Michael saw. Kimbrough seats, you can get 20,000 people in there, which they had done before, obviously. But over the years, in the way that Division II was trending, in so many different things for people to do on the weekends, we weren't seeing those crowds, and you weren't going to see those crowds, into the future. So why not build something on campus where it's closer for everybody? Why not build something that you can get a loud environment in, which I believe Buffalo Stadium, if you pack it, to the brim, it's going to be 12,000 somewhere in there. But even in our crowds, Tyler, that we've had the last couple of years, which have been, maybe 9,000 or so, 8 to 9, it gets really loud, and it's a huge home field advantage for the Buffs with what the Maroon Platoon does. You love how they've kept that Maroon Platoon going strong since even back when you were in school, right?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the Maroon Platoon was, man, that was the bee's knees when I was in school. And I'm not just saying that out of nostalgia sake, but also at the same time, and I'll bounce off the Kimbrough. I love Kimbrough. Like, Kimbrough was a place where I met many friends, enjoyed many games, covered just as many. So like, Kimbrough will always have a place in my heart. Like, I hope it'll never go away. It can change the name, but for a lot of people, it's still Kimbrough Memorial Stadium. That's what's really special, is you can change the name, but is the popular nomenclature really went away? And my answer is no. Like, because it was Kimbrough for so long, and I will give Canyon ISD plenty of credit. Like, they did a lot of work to Kimbrough. They did a lot of work to create a really nice southern complex with updated locker rooms, with updated concession stands, a big ballroom where they can have proms, they can do special events, they can do press conferences, they can do the lunches if they desired, if they did the media lunches. They still do the media lunches. It's always going on when I'm busy with something else. So
you're missing Schlotzsky's, Tyler. It's really good.
I know I'm missing Schlotzsky's. But then the move to, because at old Kimbrough, and Luke and I both know this, and those that remember, classic Kimbrough, like the scoreboard was on the south end, and then they moved it to the north end, and I feel like that was the right play to make, because then, still everybody can see the scoreboard. It's still big. It's still gorgeous. It's very Texas. And then you have the South, which, hey, like, that's the complex. That's the locker rooms. It's contemporary. It's, so what Canyon I will say it's not perfect. I wish there'd be a brand new press box. Anybody who's anybody would, but that would be a big project in itself.
You and my good friend Tom Simon from Hereford, he's really wanting a new press box there, because every time that Hereford comes to Canyon, the far north side of that press box is where the visitor radio goes, and it is pretty tight. It is pretty tight. We don't have that problem, because the home radio broadcast booth is plenty big, and it's I've been in so many different press boxes. I'm not going to complain at all about what we have at Kimbrough, but you are right. It is older, and that's probably that next thing in terms of just the touch-ups that they want to do to be able to make it. But honestly, Tyler, if you're a high school player, coach, cheerleader, band member, like, the experience on a Friday night out there with the lights on is, especially if you get in a big game, you're playing your rival, even some of the playoff games that we've had with the small schools, the 2A games that have been played out there at the stadium, it's phenomenal. I cannot imagine that feeling, going out there and competing on that stage.
Yes, and I agree completely. The Kimbrough, when it's jam packed full of people, you could say Canadian versus Abernathy, regional semifinals or regional finals. You are going to have a huge crowd. You are going to easily push 15 to 18,000 people. It's a nice range, but no, like Lance told me of times where he saw WT like overflowing full of fans, and that was that was for West Texas A&M when Don Carthel was there. And Lance and I had a conversation about the whole return of Don Carthel and how kind of catharsis, like it felt like a catharsis in a way. And then but also at the same time, like the high schools pack Kimbrough or Buffalo Stadium probably a lot more often than you think, especially when you get later in the playoffs, you get into December. Heaven forbid there would be a New Deal versus let's just say Groover and Munster had a good crowd. Because when I was there, that was a pretty good crowd, and Groover shows up like no matter how good, like Groover, the town's going to be there. Yeah, the whole town's going to be there. Like Kale used to joke that I can go in and rob the town blind because during one of those high caliber playoff games because everybody in town is all at the game. Like, but no, Kimbrough and Buffalo Stadium, they're both really special stadiums. We're very and then I'm not going to discount Dick Bivens either. Dick Bivens. Yeah. What Amarillo ISD does with Dick Bivens is really nice. I think even between my last departure and me coming back, they already replaced the scoreboard. So they're constantly tinkering with Bivens. They're constantly tinkering with Kimbrough. They're tinkering with Buffalo Stadium. So like Amarillo's very, and this is where I get into the shoot, like the soapbox for a second. All we're missing is a 6-man football palace. And I know when I talked to Joe Garcia, he's like, well, there's already really nice 6-man football fields. I was like Hermley? Like Hermley's a palace. Like Hermley is the only one that really springs to my mind. Or even to the extent of like Happy's Cowboy Corral. Like that place it's a 6-man football stadium, but it's got a lot of character. But I was like, all that, I mean, like that's all they really need. And I was like, what you could do is just, you can get Kids Inc. on board, and after they get done with Rock Rose, that's a big deal. But once that's over, like maybe we start planting seeds for a 6-man football palace. But no, like Amarillo is very blessed to have really nice facilities. I know there's been a debate over replacing the Civic Center, or even just adding on to it. But hey, that's going to be a white elephant for down the road. And but no, we're very blessed to have really nice facilities. I will say that even if you get to the JV stuff, like if you go to like a JV game at West Plains, or you go to a JV game at Canyon or Randall, like they have their own places where they can play. Like not all JV teams can say that. Like,
yeah, Texas takes their athletics pretty seriously, and for you and I, growing up in different states, we're able to attest to that. I mean, if you've lived in the Lone Star State long enough, but you also grew up in another state, I don't think many of them can compare to Texas to the level that athletics is supported by communities, by businesses, by the parents, by the schools. And it's something that I certainly have been blessed. And my kids are now getting to benefit from that, having my daughter go through Canyon High School, and now my son, who is going to be a sophomore this next year at West Plains. Man, I try to tell them every once in a while, like, you guys enjoy this. Like you are really, really fortunate. Take advantage of all these opportunities that you have.
And that's a great segue, by the way. Like, I really want you to boast about your kids, especially Brooklyn. I get that right? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
She's down
or BK. A lot of people just call her
BK.
Yeah.
All right. She's down she's down at Texas Tech. She's doing really great. And then your son's doing really well at West Plains.
Brayden.
It's gonna be it's gonna be a matter of time before, he really he becomes more of a prominent person at West Plains.
Tiny guy running around at Kimbrough Stadium, Tyler, and now he's 16.
Yeah. The baby's growing up.
That's right. That's right. Watch out there on the I-27.
I know.
Actually, he's probably going VFW a lot of times to avoid the stuff on I-27.
Oh yeah, like most people would. But yeah, boast about your kids a little bit, because just I will boast for Luke if Luke's not going to boast enough. The kids are quite all right, and they're doing awesome. And it depends. It depends on the person, where you say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. If anybody knows Luke well enough, that he's an awesome guy, and his kids are just as awesome. So, just awesome family all around. But hey,
thanks, Tyler.
You betcha. Boast about those kids.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying all of that. Really, really special. When you get to be a part of your kids' journey, no matter what they're doing, and I've gotten to see that as in a role, even in my job as a school counselor, just seeing kids, go through high school and really be passionate about something, whether it's, in my kids' case, sports. Or for some kids, it maybe is band, or it's theater, or maybe they, FFA, ag. Ag is big here in Texas Panhandle.
It's huge.
But my point is that when a kid has a passion and they work hard and they go after, things that they want to accomplish, when you're able to be there, watching them, supporting them, helping them out. And in my case, I'll start with just Brooklyn. Being able to, for some of her high school career with volleyball and basketball, I had a chance to broadcast, a few of her playoff games or a few of her district games, and that's something I'm going to cherish forever. Is getting to have a front row seat for that. Track. She obviously excelled in track, probably the most. She was a 3-sport athlete and was a really good volleyball player, and grew into a good role on Coach Lombard's basketball team, and ended up her junior year being a state runner-up, and then senior year they came one game away from getting back to the state tournament. But she was track was her thing that she probably excelled in the most, and it was cool for me because I had a chance to get out there and work with her in the off season. Before her senior year, she was having to get up early in the morning during basketball season, from January, February, even into March, and do workouts on her own, to where when track came around, she would be ready to go. And we would get up about 3 times a week, 6 o'clock in the morning, go do some track workouts. And I knew how dedicated she was. I knew how much that it meant to her whenever I was able to see her do something like that, because not a lot of kids will do that. Had great coaching throughout her career in all those sports, and in track, certainly there with Coach Baca, and had great teammates as well. And then she was fortunate enough to get a chance to go to Texas Tech and competed this last year as a freshman for another great coach there. Just one of the best coaches in the country there at Texas Tech, and she really enjoyed it, had a great time. I will say this, though, Tyler, is the things that I'm most proud of Brooklyn, and now I'm trying to, instilling those same things in my son, is as you are competing and as you are going after individual goals, which is fine, I want my kids to be good leaders. I want them to be good teammates. I want them to bring the best out of their teammates and have fun. And I think Brooklyn did a really good job of that. she had a lot of teammates and a lot of coaches that would tell her, man, we had so much fun playing with you, or so much fun running with you, competing with you. And so that meant a lot to me, to see her grow into that leadership role.
Nice. And hey, hard work pays off, right? She worked
Absolutely.
hard.
Yeah.
As a parent that's went through kind of that recruiting process, even kind of on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
I know a lot of athletic parents, they're aware, because at one point, that parent or parents were college athletes at one point, but maybe for a first generation, a student athlete that's really excelling, and their parents didn't have the opportunity to go to college, or they weren't exactly a college athlete. What kind of advice would you give to that parent as their kid is going through this recruiting process?
Yeah, that's a good question, Tyler. And nowadays it's changed a lot in terms of the process, the recruiting process, or even just how much it seems like we all want this. I mean, and when I say we, even the parents, right, or the grandparents, you get so into your kids' sports, and I think a lot of people, there's a lot of really good athletes, right, but not everybody is built for going to that next level, just because of what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one of the biggest things for me is listening to your kids, and allowing them to have their own dreams, allowing them to pursue what they want to pursue, and not getting caught up in, this is what I think they should do. I mean, I think they're this good, I think they need to go to this place. It may be a situation where by the time your kid gets through high school, I mean, in Brooklyn's case, she did 3 sports, I mean, from her freshman year to her senior year, and it was a lot of work on her body. So if it would have been a case where she didn't want to do anything in college, that's okay. She was very fortunate, kind of got a late opportunity from Coach Kitley, to go to Texas Tech and to be a part of their program. And that's where she was going to school anyway. She's going to be a nursing student there.
Nice.
And, yeah. And so it just, that fell into place nicely. But I have seen that firsthand, Tyler, just being around kids and being around coaches in different programs, is sometimes the parent can get too caught up in, and it's a thing where they love their kid. So don't get me wrong. It's not ever a thing where I think that the parent doesn't want, their kid to have success or to have things. But I think sometimes you're not completely doing maybe what's truly best for your kid. And a big way to figure that out is to simply let them kind of take the reins.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to help them out, and they need help because they're kids, but this is their life. They're the ones that are going to be moving on and are going to have to put in a lot of hard work in college, because in college it's another level of that commitment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a job.
Yep. Oh yeah. If you think it's a job, running around and chasing your kids in high school, just wait till college. And especially for them, because and I remember talking to a collegiate wrestler, Miguel Beret. He was from Dumas, and I put it together a cool feature story, because he was at the time when I was in Moore County News Press, he was at University of the Ozarks. He was wrestling, and then this is Division III that we're talking about, and I was what's the biggest difference between wrestling in high school and wrestling in college? And he told me, and this will forever stick with me, he was like, it's like wrestling a state championship match every single time I'm out on the mat.
Right.
It could be.
Yeah, there's no more dominance anymore.
No.
Like we're in high school, you can get into certain situations where you're just flat out the better athlete.
Yeah. And that's something that catches up with a lot of people really fast. It's like, oh, I'm in college. Oh my goodness, everybody's good.
Yeah. Well, it comes down to, very quickly, Tyler, you find who truly loves the sport, who is passionate about getting better, We've seen that a lot, even at West Texas A&M. I mean, the example that, and there's a lot of them, but the example that very quickly comes to my mind is Zach Toussaint. Zach is the number 2 all-time leading scorer in a very, very good basketball program in West Texas A&M. Zach is being generous. Probably, I bet he's 5'10", maybe. You think he's 5'10", 5'9",
Okay.
5'10"? When Zach was recruited, I remember Kent Johnson and I seeing the picture that came up on the website, being recruited from Johnsburg, Illinois, which we had to look up and see where that was at. And Tyler, I kid you not, on the picture, he looked like the kid, like it looked like a kid on a Wheaties box, but truly a kid who was like 14, in an oversized jersey. And that kid from Johnsburg, Illinois, came to college and outworked everybody. Obviously, he was talented. He was a good player and could shoot the ball, but he wasn't 6'5". He wasn't the fastest kid on the court. He wasn't the most athletically gifted, but he outworked everybody, and he became obviously incredible at his craft of shooting. So that's just to me, when it comes to college, it is not always about talent, and it is certainly not always about what you did in high school. It's about, are you going to work for it, and how much do you love it, because there's going to be adversity as well.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of really great West Texas A&M basketball players, there's a whole bunch of them. The one I remember the most, and he's now a coach these days, is David Chavlovich. He's
the GOAT.
He is still one of my favorite. Like, even when he was a freshman, he was so smooth and had great command of the basketball. Just absolutely fearless. He was a joy to watch. I mean, and we even in my, my brief stints in, catching the Buff men, there were a lot of really talented players that have come through in a Buffs jersey, and even more so in a Lady Buffs jersey too. So, I mean, along with Zach, who else stood out to you?
Yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned David, and if you asked Coach Brown and Coach Gove, they would tell you that a lot of the same things I just said about Zach Toussaint, you could say about David Chavlovich. I mean, David wasn't recruited by many teams because he was shorter. He wasn't that athletic, but David could shoot the ball. David could score, and David had confidence. He had a special confidence, and then he worked hard and got better and better every year. I was fortunate to kind of get in to being the voice of WT Athletics at a perfect time in terms of like Coach Brown and Coach Gove and the Buffs just going this way, making Final Fours, the national championship runner-up year with JoJo Murray and Quay Grant. Those two
Grant
guys
was good too. Oh man.
Yeah, you open it up talking about a lot of players nowadays in this new era that we're in with the transfer portal and all that kind of a thing, who have come to WT and then gone on. Those two guys were two of those guys. Quay and JoJo were phenomenal. Ryan Quaid was another one.
Oh man, Ryan Quaid was good too.
That was outstanding. Kind of that 6'6", 4, but could step out and hit threes and kind of had that little Dirk fadeaway, from 15 feet. So he was special. Jordan Evans was another guy, and then more recently, I think the run that the Buffs had, where they went to the Final Four with Larry Wise, Rylan Holt, and some of those guys. All these players that I'm mentioning, though, Tyler, it goes back to me to what Coach Brown and Coach Gove have been able to do, coming to Texas, bringing that northern attitude, that northern spirit, but recruiting, they have just been phenomenal. And that's why you come off this year, this past season, where the Buffs They still won 20 games, but they didn't make the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not panicking whatsoever. I have full confidence that WT is going to bounce back and bounce back quickly because I know how the coaches recruit. They're going to find players. Their system. You talk about a system. If you're a basketball player that loves to score and shoot and run and get up and down and just play a fun. Well, they've established that in Canyon. So I think those guys have been tremendous. It's been great to hold on to them. I've been surprised over the years that we haven't lost Coach Brown or Coach Gove to other places.
I know that's so crazy because, I don't know. I was very surprised when, well, of course, when Michael moved on to Stephen F. and
Right.
a lot of other coaches kind of followed him over to SFA.
Coach Vandenberg with baseball.
Yeah, Coach Vandenberg, great guy, by the way. I love Matt Vandenberg. He was the only person, like he was one of the other other than Mike Nesbitt. And you and I know plenty about Mike Nesbitt, and he's doing really well.
Yeah.
He's coaching
He
over at University of Arizona. Every now and then he'll reach out to me. He'll see how I'm doing.
He's a good guy.
Great guy. But yeah, for WT to still hang on to Tom and Coach Gove, like they've been, that's a blessing in disguise. But as far as and I told Lance this, I can go in and I could probably wing it with a lot of coaches, especially the more familiar I get with them. Tom Brown is the one guy that always makes my mind kind of churn. I'm like, okay, all right. What kind of questions can I ask Coach Brown without making me feel dumb and making him feel dumb? Like that was always a challenge when I covered like the buff men. But like I like that because like Tom and I hope Tom sees this eventually. Is he's that one guy that challenges me to ask better questions.
Yeah.
And in the case where I'm like I get really scared and I'm like, oh man, like maybe I shouldn't ask Tom questions or anything. Maybe then I'm like, okay, maybe I should just go to a player instead. And I did that one time. I think I just asked Tom like some very simple questions, and then I ended up catching Gotch, and Gotch was a great player in his own right.
Yes, he was.
I really like Gotch. I was able to go grab quotes from him, and that made it feel like so much better. But I mean, I had to put my thinking cap on when it came to Tom, and so yeah, kudos to Tom Brown for making us ask the intelligent questions.
Very, very smart guy, and as is Coach Gove. But I love the competitive spirit. I mean, nobody wants to win more than those two guys. And it's funny you talk about the demeanor and just the mannerisms and conducting interviews. This past softball season, WT lost in the Lone Star Conference tournament semifinals, I believe, to Texas A&M Kingsville.
Yes.
So we go in to do the post-game press conference, and Coach Mook comes in with two of the Lady Buff players. And I know Coach Mook well enough to know he's already a man of fewer words. I mean, he's also very, very intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
I have a really good relationship with Michael and just love the way he coaches. But you're not going to get quite as much out of him as you are from Tom or even from Chris. But after that Kingsville loss, I could just see it on his face. It was going to be short, just needed to ask a few questions. And I was thinking, this is so different from Coach Brown, because you could just ask one question, and even after a loss, Tom was going to give you some good stuff, and he's honest. I mean, he may, he may get on the officials from time to time, but he's very honest and he's going to compliment the other team. He's going to talk about what his team didn't do well. So it's just interesting. You and I get a chance to see those guys and those ladies that coach, and how they're all different. They have their different personality, but I think that is important as the broadcaster or as the interviewer, as the journalist, to be respectful of that and to kind of understand, hey, I've got a job to do and I want to ask good questions, but I'm going to respect, how you roll, how your personality is.
Right. Agreed. And then I'll flip it. Over to Coach Prock.
Oh yeah.
What a great guy. I love Coach Prock. And it's kind of crazy because just like Coach Lynn, he flipped over from the dark side over to the light side. The dark side meaning Eastern New Mexico. You
can't blame him, right? I mean, you definitely want to leave Portales to come to camp.
But yeah, Coach Prock, he's a great one. And what I love about Coach Prock is, and I did a feature story on the Lady Buffs while they were kind of going through the NCAA, they were getting ready for the South Central Regional. Okay. And of course they had to run up against Texas Women's, which I'm like, dude, how did Texas Women's get really good? Because I remember WT would just stomp a mud hole in them all the time. But I digress. I'm going to set aside my fandom for just a second. But no, Coach Prock was incredibly helpful when it came to scheduling the interviews. And he was like, hey, I know we got this set up, but can I call you real quick? And it was actually Coach Prock, I will say this, he does everything he can to make your life easier. Where I'm like, I want to make it to where I can make your life easier. And that's a mutual respect thing too. And, and then his reasoning is very sound. It's not oh, well, that's kind of dumb. I guess I'll have to do it anyways. It's not that. It's more oh, he's trying to help me out by be saying, hey, come out about 20 minutes before practice. I'll sit you down with 3 of our players and you can have an interview. And I know that who I interviewed, 2 of the 3, they were the sisters from Wellington.
Kayne and your sister.
Yes. And I have the gift of making everybody sound like $1 million, but I could tell that they were a little nervous. They were a little stiff. And that's okay for athletes out there. It's okay to be a little stiff or a little nervous. My job is to make you sound like $1 million at the end of the day and make you look like $1 million at the end of the day. So that's just a nice soft disclaimer. And then they had another player. She was a transfer, I think, from Tarleton, I think. And she was good. She was really good.
Was it Chloe?
Yes, Chloe. Yeah. She was good.
Girl from Canyon.
Yes, she was really good. And or it might have been, because she came from the Metroplex, and then played over at Tarleton, and then transferred over to WT. But yeah, she was fantastic. I can be like, all right, well, what do you think of this? And she can give me an opinion all day. So it's not only the coaches, it's the players. Some of my favorites have been with the football team. And covering WT football last year, I got to know Cam Manahan really well. Mm-hmm. He's somebody I want to bring on the podcast one day, just because he's such an interesting guy. And he loves to talk. He's a talker, and he backs it up. That's what I really like about. I'm buying what Cam Manahan is selling. And then Canyon Ives, before he transferred, he was a class act. RJ Martinez was fantastic.
Did you get a chance to talk to Fats? Fats was a great kid too.
Okay, Sean I didn't get a chance to talk to Fats. Sean Johnson, by the way. I think I visited with him a little bit, but never a full blown interview.
Yeah.
But but he's a character all to himself too. Like, yeah, a lot of good characters. And I mean that in like, out of a place of love and out of a place of goodness. It's like, they're all characters.
Yeah. Good people. What you mentioned about Coach Prock, I just wanted to throw in, Tyler, that he is one of those guys that you can tell is a servant leader. He knows he has a job to do, and that job is to win. But Josh has told me multiple times that he also knows that he is coaching young women who are going to leave. They're going to hopefully graduate, get their degree, and go out and to become CEOs, to raise families, to be moms, and do those things. And he is not just invested in making them better basketball players. He truly is invested in making them good people. And you can't say that about every coach across the country, because you can't help but get caught up in, I have to win championships, I have to produce. In this day and age, it's just the Wild West, in terms of the turnover and getting transfers and all of that kind of stuff. But I really do feel like Josh takes that to heart. Every year he starts the season, and I feel like he wants to make his girls better as people, not just as a basketball team. So I've really enjoyed getting to be around Josh. Josh was one of those guys that before he came to WT, we were broadcasting obviously against Eastern New Mexico, but he was always one that I watched, and I respect people who compete their tails off. And anytime we played them, I thought, that guy's good. Like, his teams are just tough as nails.
They're tenacious, yeah.
Yes. And so when we were able to bring him over, I was just ecstatic, because I thought he's going to bring that winning mentality. And he obviously has done that, and they've won a lot of games, and won some conference championships, and went to the Elite Eight in his first year in Canyon. So I think it's pretty cool when you get a chance to do that. Coach Lynn, same way.
Coach Lynn. I was gonna get to Coach Lynn, but keep going.
Another Josh, and he has been a lot of fun for me to get to know. On a personal note, his son Bryson is the same age as my son Braylon, and they've played some club basketball together. His son's going to be a little bit taller than my son, because Bryson already has grown to be, he's 6'5" right now.
Yeah, he's huge. He's over at Randall.
He is, and so whoever that new basketball coach is over at Randall, because sadly my good friend Trevor Johnson stepped down to be a principal over at Claude, but whoever gets that Randall job, you're going to be okay. You've got Coach Lynn's son and some other kids over there as well. But I've gotten to know Josh truly just as a dad, as a person, and as a friend of mine. And man, you just want success. I want success for my Buffs. I want the football team to get back to the playoffs. We haven't been there since 2013.
Yep, I know. And I remember I was in school at that time.
Yes. But it just feels like, last year we got the ball rolling, won 8 games, went to the bowl game, won 7 of our last 8 down the stretch. And you want success badly for a guy like Josh Lynn, because of how great he is, and how hard he's working. So I feel like the Buffs are very, very close to bringing that back.
Yeah. And speaking of WT football,
Yep.
And I was definitely gonna bring up what our thoughts are for the Buffs for this upcoming season. But one thing with Josh Lynn, and it's a whole bunch of praise, is that when he was at Eastern, he was like he would give the Buffs such a hard time, because he had that triple option offense. Always kept you guessing.
They'd run for like 600 yards.
Oh, and
and you couldn't stop it.
Oh, yeah. You. It was such a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, you better score 60 points.
Yeah.
because every time they got the ball, they were going to find a way to score.
Yes, and they had some really good running backs during Coach Lynn's time, and they even had some really good running backs during Kelly Lee's time too. Shout out Kelly Lee, by the way.
He's a great coach too.
Another great coach. But like, Coach Lynn was like, "Hey, like, here's my number. Give me a call sometime." He's that kind of person. He's like, if you ever need me, give me a call. I'm more than happy to visit with you. And I was like, oh, awesome. Like, so I've never had any ill will towards Eastern New Mexico. It's not even like I feel bad. It's more like,
good for you, Tyler.
Yeah.
I'm glad you can say that.
Well, even when I was in school and even afterwards, like, I always had respect for the Hellhounds.
Mm-hmm.
I always called them the Hellhounds because they always gave WT hell. I had more respect for Eastern than I did for like Texas A&M Commerce, or like, even though I like Colby Carthel, I like Colby, or Tarleton, like, and that was because like one player decided to go up and like shake the cage of like one of the Buffalo mascots, and then the herdsman got in, and it was a whole big scuttlebutt. I remember that. Wow, yeah, that still sticks in my brain to this day. And it's funny, but it's also like, we don't harass your mascot. Why are you harassing ours? Like, ours is just a baby. Like, plus when that thing gets grown up, it'll come after you. Like, be careful. Like,
you don't mess with the buffalo.
No, you don't mess with the buffalo. But yeah, like, and getting to know Josh Lynn over the years, and from his stints at Eastern to his stints up in University of Nebraska Kearney, and then back here at West Texas A&M, like, I feel like, he's easy to talk to. You can easily ask him questions, and he has the transfer portal, can be devastating, especially if you're really good at D2. Like, a D1's going to come knocking. And also I want to kind of shout out Justin Bain as well, even though he was with WT for just a year. Man, that guy's good. Like, he's really good. And he's a great person too. What an amazing guy. And if Ben Arbuckle likes you, you're going places. But no, like, for Josh to kind of navigate WT as well as he has, and I know that the development towards like the elite level, to getting back to the playoffs and getting back and being in contention for LSE championships. That's a long road, but I will tell Buff fans today and tomorrow and next week, that, keep the faith. Josh Lynn will get you there, and it's not going to be built on, oh, hey, I'm going to assemble like the Avengers, and we're going to make an amazing playoff run. That's my little jab at Texas Tech. But he's building the program the right way. And even with all the departures, he's bringing in guys, or he's recruiting guys that could easily slide in and make an impact, and really make some noise in the Lone Star Conference. So I think that's a great segue for us to be like, hey, how are the Buffies going to be this year?
Right. In Tyler, I saw the momentum last year, and for the first time, you finished a season where, for me as the broadcaster, you felt like, okay, this wasn't just an okay year. It was a year where you're like, the fans are going to be excited for for us to get back on the field. It felt like even just in a couple of games, if things go your way, if we're able to score some points at UTPB, late in the season when the defense played really, really well.
Oh, the defense was lights out. It's just the offense
Yeah,
couldn't get going, but that's all
correct.
right.
In a year where that wasn't the case, our offense was one of the best in the country. So I think, and I'm not just being the hometown broadcaster here, I think the Buffs are going to win even more than they won last year. And I'm not saying a lot because we've got a tough schedule again, but Coach Lynn is doing a good job of a couple of things. One, yes, you're losing some guys now from year to year because if you put up the offensive numbers and you're a talented receiver or a running back like Hibbler, he got a chance to go. Jaden Hibbler did to go to a small Division I school and make some money. That's going to happen. But now we are then finding guys to kind of come in and fill that role that we just lost. Offensive line was a spot. I know that they wanted to find some guys because we lost two really good offensive linemen from last year that went up. I think they've went out and they found some guys that can step in and fill those roles as well. They do like the quarterback that they have coming in, Knox, who has a good high school resume of being a state champion, being a winner at Salina. And I also like the fact that the coaching staff, there's a lot of these guys that have been with Coach Lynn now for a few years, and I think that they are fully invested in this, and they see, hey, we're close to getting this thing turned around. So Buff fans, I think get ready because I think this year is going to be that year where they are competing for a conference championship, and they are going to knock that door down and make the playoffs.
Yeah. The biggest tests have to be at the beginning of the season, of course. You got Western Colorado.
You can't start 1-3. You can't start 1-3.
No, can't start 1-3 because Western Colorado has been on the upper echelon of the RMAC, and the RMAC is always loaded. And take this from a guy that's covered, Black Hills State and South Dakota Mines, and I know both those coaches. Charlie Floor at Mines, great guy, just uphill climb, just trying to recruit kids to go to because the high academics at South Dakota Mines, really high academics. So it's tough to go get just, hey, let's go get some state champions,
Right.
From out of South Dakota or North Dakota. No, they have to meet a certain academic criteria and they want to be engineers. Black Hills State has a little bit easier road to work with because they're more of a public school. And Josh Bresky, shout out Coach Bresky. I love both of those coaches. When I was at when I was with the Rapid City Journal, both of those gentlemen were fantastic to work with, as well as the athletic department. So an unsung hero from Black Hills State, Alex Schoof. Fantastic guy. I need to reach out to him because I need to do a story over, I think it was Desi Hernandez. She is a West Plains alumna, and then she's actually making noise at Black Hills State. She was like a second team All RMAC last year.
Really good kid.
Good kid. And then Lacey Pesky actually transferred to WT from BH. So I had to shoot her like a text, and I was like, hey. So you joined the good guys finally, but
she had a great season too.
She had a really great season, and she's had fantastic years at BH as well. So she's no slouch. But knowing the RMAC's tough because you have Western Colorado, you have CSU Pueblo, you have Colorado Mines. Colorado Mines, my goodness. They had a really good run over the last few years. It was kind of weird to kind of see them kind of dip down a little bit. But yeah, still a really good program, really solid program. The RMAC's loaded. And then of course you got Grand Valley State. Grand Valley State has the pedigree, multiple national championships. They're such a powerhouse, coming out of Michigan. And then, just those are those first two tests that WT has to just get through.
And you hope that happens. You hope they have a good start. The conference this year, Tyler, it's going to be interesting because some of the top teams, two of the top teams over the last several years are now with new coaches, and I
Yeah.
think that makes a big difference in Division Two. UT Permian Basin, the old nemesis, the old Falcons.
Mhm.
They lost their coach. He was really good. He moved on. How's that going to change their program? And then Central Washington, you talk about a program that we really, really respect, and golly, they've had our number the last several years. But their head coach Chris Fisk, he took a Division One job, and so he's no longer there with the Wildcats. How is that going to change them? How many players left and maybe went to be a part of his new team, or just transferred, to other places?
Mhm.
So I think it sets up nicely for the Buffs. Also, Eastern New Mexico, our rival, who the Buffs have had their number the last couple of seasons, they have a new coach as well, Art
Art
Briles.
Briles. Yep. Art
So
Briles, man. Holy moly. And then, yeah, Lance told me an interesting story that he had with Art. And it was what was it? It was Panhandle playing one of his teams back in the 80s.
oh wow,
Yeah. It's on a previous episode. It's really good. I will leave it to Lance to tell that story because it's better to hear it from Lance than third-hand information from me.
yes.
So if you haven't seen the Lance Leinert episode, I recommend it. It's great viewing. So like I'm gonna bring it up a few levels. How you feeling about OU this year?
Yeah. Every year, Tyler, that's the interesting thing. And my son, Braylon, he is also a big OU fan. So he's sending me stuff right now about the off season, about, hey, this poll says, this is where they're going to finish, or Dad, this right now. There's a lot of noise about Texas. There's actually been a lot of noise about Texas Tech too, for other reasons.
Oh yeah.
But Tyler, I really, last year, Braylon and I were able to go watch OU Michigan, and that was a lot of fun. Huge game there with two great fan bases. I really liked what the Sooners did last year. I like the fact that they let Brent Venables stay there. They gave him some time because it looked like, going back 2 years ago, maybe he wasn't going to make it, because at OU you got to win games, and you got to win a lot, and you got to compete for now the playoffs. That's what it comes down to. So I like a lot of the things that they have going for them. I like that the quarterback comes back. I like that he will be healthy. I like that they're saying that he's working on a lot of things, John Mateer,
Yeah.
because he's a super talented kid. But if you watched him last year, and obviously he went through that hand injury, he struggled at times. He made some bad decisions, throwing some interceptions in some key moments. But he is a game changer. I mean, he really is, with his legs, with what he can do. Their defense was phenomenal last year. OU's defense has just been lights out, and has kind of carried them in the last couple of seasons. So as a fan, I'm hoping to see OU get back to a little bit more of that traditional running game. And I don't think it's something that they haven't done it because they didn't want to. I think last year the offensive line struggled a little bit. They were new, they were young. And I don't know if they had the guys that they felt like were in place to be that true run team and then throw off of the run. But the schedule also gets a little bit easier. For 2 years, OU was thrown to the SEC Wolves, and they played, from week to week, some of the best teams.
They went through a gauntlet last year. Like
they did. They really did. And I think that was one of the big reasons why it ended up helping them to make the playoffs, is because they had that tough schedule and they were able to win some of those tougher games.
Right. Also, I want to kind of throw in a little bit of a wild card, which might be pleasing for some OU fans out there. It seems like as years progress, Ben gets a little bit better. He learns. Like, he picks up. Like, yeah. I felt like he thrived really well when he was at Wazoo. And that's why I'm going to tell people, I'll tell people far and wide that, the guy that is sitting in the booth for the Sooners right now, He's going to eventually be a head coach someday.
Yeah.
And I would say, hey, what an incredible journey that Ben Arbuckle has had to get to that point. But OU fans, enjoy him while you got him. You never know. He might be there for a while too, especially if there's sustained success. Because, like you said, Luke, OU, like it's a requirement to be successful at OU.
Yes.
Especially for how good OU has been over the last, I would say, 20 years.
Right.
Yeah. Because they got really good when, like, I was like back in 2000, and then they were always consistently good ever since.
Yeah. They dominated the Big 12.
Yeah.
For most of that time.
Yes. And but I will say this. Ben is very good at adapting. He's very good at learning. He isn't the OC at OU just because, he knew people. He's actually kind of good. Like, look no further than Cam Ward, right? Before Cam Ward went to Miami, like Ben and Cam made some magic happen at Wazoo. So I think it's a good reason for OU fans to be very optimistic this year. Same with WT fans. Plenty of reasons to be optimistic. You see some of your favorites come back, and it's apples and oranges. But for WT, it's Cam Manahan, it is Javen Cash.
Hey, I'll throw out another one for you for Buff fans.
Sure.
Because he had a good freshman year, and by the end of the season, he was one of the best defensive players on the field. His sophomore year, Lucas Jarnigan is a name.
He's really good.
If he stays healthy, Tyler, he is going to be an all LSC linebacker, just flying around, making a lot of plays. He's a very athletic kid that just has a nose for the football. Coach Lofton over at West Plains knew Lucas from his time at Idalou, and man, he's gonna be a special player.
Right. Yeah. If WT can have the same offensive output as they did last year, I think they'll be just fine. They'll be just fine. They will. I think they'll surprise a lot of teams. Maybe not so much in the LSC, but like those out of conference games, like the Western Colorados, the Grand Valley states. They're going to be like, wow, like these Texas kids, they're legit. Like.
Well, and I'll throw this in too, just in case Doug Lipinski is watching.
Hi, Doug.
Hey, that's right. Hey, Doug. So we're going to go back to Grand Valley, and there's going to be a lot of WT fans that want to win that game. Is there going to be anybody that wants to win it more than Doug Lipinski going back to his old stomping grounds where he was at for so many years? This is going to be fun. We may have to get Doug up in the booth with us for a little bit of that game.
Oh man, yeah, that'll be that. Yeah, you almost have to pay money to see just the reactions in the booth, just how split he would be. But I mean, of course, he'd probably wear the WT maroon.
Yeah, and it's not because he has bad blood or anything like that. I mean, he's got great relationships from his time at Michigan, and obviously he even played college baseball up at Grand Valley. But I just mean it's just something about that first time that you go back to the place that you grew up and you kind of made a name for yourself. But then for him, he moves to Texas, gets that first head athletic director job, and to come back, he's not going to be out on the field throwing passes or anything like that or making any tackles. But again, I think that's going to be a story kind of behind the scenes that'll be kind of fun.
Another player I wanted to add on to who to look for, Herschel Craig III, a transfer out of Black Hills State, solid player out of CSU Pueblo. I think he's going to be a guy that you'll need to keep an eye on. I've dealt with him personally. Great kid. Great guy, I should say. He's not so much a kid. He towers over me, but But great guy, really good. I mean, when I saw him at the Black Hill State, I think it was their spring game, and it moved. And you'll get a kick out of this because a thunderstorm rolled through Spearfish on the Saturday it was supposed to take place. They moved the spring game for Black Hill State. They moved it to a Tuesday afternoon at Lyle Hare Stadium, and I was like, "This is perfect. We don't have anything going on the Tuesday afternoon or a Tuesday evening." But that's where Herschel really made his name known, at least to me, because he was eating up people in the backfield. He was given the quarterback at the time, Luke Doobie, he was a pretty solid quarterback. Just BH dealt with injuries and they got a little younger and they struggled in the RMAC because the RMAC's a gauntlet. So that's why I'm not very critical of BH when they struggled last year. But he's somebody that you can keep an eye on.
I think their defensive line is
their defense is going to be. I think it's going to be pretty solid.
Yes,
very solid.
And up front, they've got a lot of depth in that defensive line spot. That's where last year they were just much more disruptive than they had been in the previous couple of seasons. And when you can put pressure on the quarterback, it changes everything.
Right. Agreed. I'm just going to be interested to see who really stands out on the offensive side because, Zach Phipps, like who was a great receiver last year, by the way, so underrated. Yeah. And I still have the photo of him catching the touchdown pass against Angelo State. Yeah. Probably one of my favorite photos of the last year or so. And then RJ Martinez, being so good. But I think it really helped for Knox to have when WT was winning big, for Knox to come in and really get some reps in and get familiar and. Especially in the throwaway games against Sol Ross, where I feel bad for Sol Ross because, Amanda, who's down there, shout out to Amanda, by the way. She's fantastic. She's doing good. Just Sol Ross, it's just hard to recruit to a place like Alpine. That's a tall task, but yeah, and then also for Eastern, when things got really comfortable, for the wagon wheel, that's when Knox came in, got some reps in, did pretty well. And then and the cool thing is there's a whole stable of quarterbacks just kind of sitting behind him, just playing patient.
Yep. Yeah, another name that I think is going to be really good. We talked about losing Jaden Hibbler.
Yes.
And he did a lot of just tremendous things last year for the Buffs. They're going to have a running back this year that if he's healthy and he's out on the field, Ciante Kaysen.
Okay.
Is going to be a guy that at one point, I believe, maybe a couple of seasons ago, was at Florida State. But he is a true running back. He is a guy that's low to the ground.
Oh,
got some good speed, but is very, very difficult to tackle. And I think he could be a really good player. They still have Gene Sledge, sledgehammer, Mean Gene. That obviously he does some good things and is really good on the goal line. But look out for Ciante Kaysen. He could be a big time running back for the Buffs next year.
Okay, very cool. Yeah. Plenty of reasons for Buff Nation to be excited about the WT football program this year. Here's something I'm gonna throw out of left field. And don't worry, it's not like it's still a softball. It's a proverbial softball. But okay, all right. People know you as voice of the Buffs. They know you as dad. They know you as a school counselor. What are some things? What is a thing about you that nobody else would know just by looking at you, Luke?
That's a great question, Tyler. Here's what comes to mind is my love for music. I would just say that. And when I say a love for music, I I'm the type of guy, Tyler, that I can jump in a vehicle for a road trip, and let's say I'm not driving, so I'm not in control of the radio dial or the tunes that somebody's going to put on their playlist. I can listen to anything, and good variety of music. I was brought up. My dad, had the radio playing on road trips and stuff, and so I'm talking anything from like old, 70s rock to 80s music with Michael Jackson. That Michael Jackson movie came out recently,
It sure
and
did,
my
yeah.
yeah my family and I went to that. My kids love Michael Jackson and love Michael Jackson music and R&B, hip hop, music, probably because of me playing Michael Jackson, when they were younger. Um, my mom loved country music. I live in the Lone Star State. I'm a Okie from Muskogee. Not really. I'm from Beaver, um, so I love country music. I love my old '80s George Strait and Randy Travis and that kind of old Garth Brooks into the '90s. And then even with the current music, I will tell you this: my son. I've talked a lot about Brooklyn, but my son Braylon, he loves music too, and he is right now a huge Noah Kahn fan.
Okay.
And I, at first, this is going back. I mean, he's loved him. He's loved his music for several years. I remember Braylon being in like sixth grade and him listening to Noah Kahn. And at first, I was kind of like, "What are you listening to?" But I've grown to just love his style. In he's got some kind of hard hitting, deep lyrics that I think are really cool. So, kind of a long answer there to your question, but I do. I love music, and there's not a day that goes by where, for me, I don't have music, whether I'm working out or whether I'm just doing stuff on the job. Um, it's a big part of just who I am because I think music just is fun. I think it brings joy.
Um, so a little more of a lore drop about me.
Yep.
My dad, and my mom were both DJs at one time. They were mobile
Oh,
DJs.
sweet.
So they went to teen dances in the late 80s, early 90s. Like they had a sound company, they had everything. They went to a whole bunch of teen dances, made a whole bunch of bank. They knew their music.
That's cool.
Really neat. Mom still knows how to get around a soundboard. Maybe not as quick as the draw as she used to be, but her ears are still good. My dad, from probably about when he got out of college to up until he passed away several years ago, he was an audio engineer. So he would go to he would go and set up sound for bands and for a big motorcycle rally. He did that for 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he did sound for everybody, say, from Sawyer Brown. I remember going to Sawyer Brown and helping Dad with sound for that. To Saliva, to Blue Oyster Cult. He preferred more local bands to where my dad always kidded. He was like, I'm too big to stay small, but I'm too small to go big. Back when I was in high school, he was approached by, I think it was Michael Martin Murphey.
Okay.
And because he played a concert in the hometown, really liked what my dad did, and he invited Dad to be like the sound man for like a tour. Dad weighed it, and Dad had to turn it down. Like he said, he was too big to stay small. He was too well known, too well liked to stay small, but too small to go big. He did Tonic when Tonic was a big deal back in the late 90s. He told me a story where he was doing sound for Tonic in Hilton Coliseum, and the guitarist was trying to trying to motion to him that, hey, can you make some adjustments on the board? Like, can you make me sound a little bit better? And Dad, like, he was motioning with his hands, and Dad didn't. Well, I mean, Dad's not a mind reader. None of us are. And Dad was like, what is this guitarist doing? And the guitarist started getting mad at him, and Dad's like, well, I don't know what you want. Like, so like some miscommunication became kind of a laugher. Another time is he did sound for Vanilla Ice, and one of the speakers caught on fire during the concert. So it went from miscommunication to a near catastrophe.
That's a story right there.
That is a story. I don't know the whole thing, but I do know that they put out the fire. The show ended up being okay. Vanilla Ice was a little egotistical because it was Vanilla Ice. But you know, but Dad like did sound for everybody and anybody, great and small.
That's cool.
It was cool. It was cool. A lot of weekends where he was gone when I was a kid, but and then when he would come home on a Sunday, man, he was flat on his back. He was hurting. And it wasn't until later where he learned that he broke his back and didn't even know it. And he lived with that back pain for, I would say a good 20, about good 15, 20 years.
Yikes.
Yeah. Yeah. So take care of yourselves, guys. Take care of yourselves.
Right. That's right.
But no, but Mom and Dad, they met, and then they had a business together. The lasting legacy is me. Don't know how special that is. Now I'm poking fun at myself. I'm not being serious. But other than that, like music is a huge part of my family. My dad was to the point, and he had more talent in his pinky than I did in my entire body. Like he would probably tell me about sound stuff that would completely go over my head, and then I'd probably tell him journalism stuff or broadcasting stuff that would completely go over his. So everybody's smart in their own way. So yeah, next time you encounter Cletus from The Simpsons, he might know how to fix a car and you don't. So But anywho, yeah, like dad could pick up almost any instrument and play. He just needed a little practice. He could be a little rusty, but like if he practiced consistently, he was good.
Yeah, he's talented.
Very talented. And then my grandmother, she still sings the national anthem at the Dayton Rodeo, the hometown rodeo. She has sang it for close to about a half century now. So yeah. And nowadays she's like joined by my aunt, and my aunt has a really powerful singing voice. She's almost too overpowering. Just don't let her know that. And then my oldest cousin and my youngest cousin also sing. So it's like 3 generations of Anderson/Longhorns singing the national anthem. And yeah, it's incredible. My dad helped out with building the sound system for the rodeo grounds. So that's actually a great teaser for August 8th. I'll bring in an old classmate of mine, Clayton Bills, and he's a heavy hitter for the Dayton Championship Rodeo, and we'll hype up the rodeo for that episode. Nice. August 9th. Yep, August 9th. So we'll help hype up the local rodeo. But yeah, music's huge. And speaking of music, have you noticed how many like tribute bands are there? Like, and they're actually halfway decent.
That is a thing. Do you like that, Tyler?
It's an acquired taste.
Right.
So like it depends. Because like some bands sound really good live, and then when you get them recorded, they don't sound that hot. But like Shark Beach, just want to give a shout out to Shark Beach. Not sponsored on the stream, by the way. Maybe that might be a someday thing with Brian, but but they have been bringing in a whole bunch of tribute bands over the course of the summer. And if you go out to Shark Beach, which is off the Claude Highway, it's basically like if you just slapped a beach in the middle of the Texas Panhandle. Like,
Okay.
it's kind of got the kind of the cabana type of feel.
Okay.
Yeah, like a whole bunch of sand. Like you could put the sand in between your toes. And then they have a stage, and then they have tribute bands. They had a tribute band. Oh gosh, what was it, last weekend? They had a Boston tribute band, and then they had a
Foreigner.
Foreigner. That's right. And Foreigner is one of my favorite bands. Like I love Foreigner.
It's a good one.
And unfortunately, because being weather in the Texas Panhandle, we didn't get a drop of rain, but we had severe weather roll in with big old 80 mile per hour wind gusts, because it's Amarillo. And yeah, they had to cut it short. But I was like, oh man, just when it was getting good. But
would have been a great one.
Yeah, it would have been a great one. And then I think there was like a Boston, not Boston, but there was like a few other tribute bands that have been out there. So Shark Beach has been putting on some good shows. So yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and how cool is it to play in a beach in Amarillo, Texas? Yeah.
It's not quite Gulf Shores.
It's
Alabama,
not quite Gulf Shores, but
we're destined.
Yeah, maybe someday they'll make a man-made lake or something like that. I don't know. You just have to.
We do have the Caldera Canyon. Just enjoy the canyon.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to think of any other music stuff I'm thinking of, without like totally boasting or anything. How about any concerts? Been any really good concerts?
Yeah, of late, not really, Tyler. I'm so busy with mostly sports.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
All-time favorite concerts you went to? That'll be easy.
So I would say one that was. Don't tease me for this one. This is a dad moment. A long time ago, this is before T Swift was T Swift, and she was Taylor Swift, and she was still singing country. I took Brooklyn. Just dad and daughter. We went to Lubbock and got to see Taylor Swift in concert, and that was really cool. I think Brooklyn was probably 5, maybe 4 or 5 years old. That was a fun one. When I was younger, we would actually come to Amarillo if you wanted to go to a concert. It was either Amarillo or maybe from time to time Liberal, Kansas. But we saw Kenny Chesney in Amarillo. I did see George Strait in Las Vegas, and that was a lot of fun. That was really cool. Probably one of the like in-person live like singing voice that was really impressive was Brooks and Dunn.
Brooks and Dunn. Okay.
Yeah, saw Brooks and Dunn also in Vegas, and those guys they can really sing. So yeah, those are for me probably. I haven't gone to a lot of concerts, so that would be it. My son, going back to Noah Kahan, I don't know, probably Noah Kahan or Kendrick Lamar. Those are the two that he would just love to go to. And tickets are so expensive though now, Chris. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's oh my gosh, they're insane. The concerts I've been to, I was more of a rocker.
Yeah. Yep.
So I was able to see Korn. Yeah, that was like early 2000s, about 2002. I was able to see Puddle of Mud twice. I've seen Nickelback.
Did you ever see Stone Temple Pilots? That's my.
I have not. I've seen Stone Sour.
Okay.
They came through Amarillo. Seen Stone Sour. Never seen Pearl Jam though.
Okay.
Pearl Jam would be good. Good old Eddie Vedder. I've seen Breaking Benjamin. Breaking Benjamin's one of my favorite bands, and to go see them. And before Starset got big, I got to meet the front man. They were like, Starset was just sitting, like they were just standing around in the lobby while everybody was leaving, and nobody recognized who they were. and they were like, hey, does anybody want like pictures with us? So like a friend and I that I met up with at Azteca Music Hall, we were like, we'll take pictures with you. Like absolutely. So I have a picture with me and the front man from Starset. And whenever and you can make fun of me for this, like afterwards and up until like fall. Whenever I put a picture of me and the guy from Starset, and I put it up on a dating site or something, the girl always thinks it's the prettier guy, and then I'm like, no, I'm the other guy, and then they lose interest immediately.
I'm gonna need to see this picture now, Tyler.
I'll show it to you. It's an older photo because it was before they got a little bit bigger, but yeah,
Okay.
it's good. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I've seen Papa Roach live. I wasn't very impressed with them. And that's just it is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't fault a band. Sometimes I fault the audio engineer. Seen more than my fair share of cover bands. There was one that Dad stuck with for probably close to 30 years, and it was Saucy Jack. And they were based off of a saying said in Spinal Tap. I don't remember like the whole context of Saucy Jack, but
Saucy Jack.
Saucy Jack, and
Okay.
we became friends with. It was just three guys. It was a guitarist, a bassist, and a drummer. We knew all three. They're kind of legendary in their own right. They never made their own original music. That's kind of the catch. They were a cover band, but people really liked them. People would just to go see their interpretation of Kryptonite by Three Doors Down. They would play anything from like, notable 80s hits to the more recent stuff. And Jim, the guitarist, he became one of our best friends. So whenever Dad and I went to Ames, we go to Ames to go go run an errand or go pick up sound equipment or whatever. We would always go to this restaurant, this Mexican restaurant in Ames, and we'd always go and visit with Jim, and we'd go have Mexican food with him. That was one of my favorite parts about spending time with Dad, and then also just my high school years was just being able to go make runs down to Ames, and Dad's like, hey, should we just go see Jim and go have supper with him at La Fuente? I'm like, yeah, sign me in, sign me up. I'll go. And we go hang out with Jim, Jim he's still a great guy. I mean, I saw him a few years ago. And this is a funny story all to itself. Because Dad was such a talented audio engineer. There was a kind of a county fair that my stepmom and I went to, and these sound guys, they were having the worst of time. They were just, like it was feedback. It was Murphy's Law for a sound guy, and Jim just walked in. We saw Jim walk in. I came up and I said hello and visited with him for a little bit. And when all this was going, I was like, Jim, my dad would be rolling in his grave right now over all that's going on. So Mom, being the former DJ and sound person herself, she went up and said, hey, I'm an audio engineer. Can I help you? And she was able to fix it. It worked out.
For a musician and also for a broadcaster, a sound engineer, that there is nobody better than a sound engineer, Tyler. Like that's your best friend. That's your person behind the scenes that makes the magic happen. I mean, you can't talk enough about those people. and they don't get talked enough about. For
No,
sure.
they're unsung heroes.
Yes.
There's times where I have audio issues and I'd be like, oh man, dad would be freaking out right now. Like,
Yeah.
Tyler, you're too quiet. Tyler, you're too loud, But no, like one of my cousins kind of wants to go the same route. And he's actually got some talent in him. So but hey, he's doing good stuff. He graduated. He got into welding a little bit.
Okay. There's some money there.
Very good with his hands. Loves to fix stuff. My other cousin, he's an engineer. He was with the Iowa State marching band all throughout college. Ended up getting a really nice job down in Des Moines. He's doing really good. I always kid that he's the most successful out of like the whole generation of Anderson/Longhorn kids. I mean, now granted, the oldest one became Miss Rodeo Iowa. She was in the running for being Miss Rodeo USA at one point. However, we always kid that, well, Lance, got the highest paying job and he beat all of us to the altar. And I had a 10-year head start. But his wife she's a fantastic person. And they're a tough team to beat. And then the youngest cousin, she's kind of in the makings for being a rodeo queen. So yeah, rodeo queens kind of run in the family a little bit. I was definitely not rodeo queen material. Just look at this face. But no, like I think along with music, rodeo is like a huge part of my life. I downplay it a lot because I'm more of a traditional sports guy. So when I was working in Rapid City, like I had to cover rodeos like they were sporting events. And the trick is for anybody covering a rodeo is you cover it like a track meet. So however, compared to the track athletes, which kind of linger around for a little bit, of after things are over, you have to catch the cowboys just like this. Like if it's a bull rider, you have to catch them right after the ride. And it can be challenging because if you're taking pictures of him and then it's like, oh crud, I need to find him in the back and grab a quote from him before, especially around Cowboy Christmas, which is around, right around the 4th of July, about the week of 4th of July up until the weekend. It's called Cowboy Christmas. And because all these rodeos are all going around, the 4th of July, and a bull rider can go ride in Belle Fourche, South Dakota, and then hop in their truck after their ride, get their horses put away, get all their equipment put away, hop in the truck, and then go over all the way to Mandan, North Dakota, and go ride again later on that day, or the next day, or even later on that same day.
I thought you were about to say if they hurry, they could still make Cheyenne, but
they could if they haul it pretty fast. Oh yeah. Yeah. And then there's a lot of I know Amarillo. It's definitely a rodeo city. But if you get to the Black Hills, so many really talented, and I know we get sometimes people get confused over either rodeo people or athletes. They are definitely athletes.
Yes.
I knew one athlete, Jace Blasius. He was out of Wall. So if you know where Wall Drug is at, they also have good football there.
They do.
He was a really talented multi-sport athlete. He was a state champion wrestler, multiple time state champion wrestler, but his sport was rodeo. He was really good at rodeo. He was professional level.
Yeah, Tyler, have you ever been in Vegas? I mean, for the pro?
I have not, but my family has been.
Okay.
They have been for the World Championships.
You go. You would enjoy that.
Yeah. If I liked rodeo just a teeny bit more. I like my football, my basketball, my baseball, my wrestling, which is an acquired taste. And that's one sport that, I kind of kid. I kind of kid in the inner circles. I was like, that would actually be a pretty fun sport for WT to pick up. Not that hard, because you have the First United Bank Center, which I feel like is nicer than a lot of D1 venues, especially with a lot of work that the FUB is that WT has put into the FUB. But
you think Coach Brown would be okay getting dirt in the First United Bank Center though, Tyler?
I mean, if we were talking wrestling, maybe.
Okay, wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling. Maybe not so much maybe not so much indoor rodeo, but
okay.
I mean, but you could have. I mean, I could, like, WT has their own rodeo grounds. They could beef that up a little bit, and they have an indoor arena, I think. So, and their equestrian teams actually. WT's equestrian team actually, I think they don't get talked about enough, because they get a lot of really talented athletes that come through the equestrian program, and I think they have a rodeo program. I'm not completely sure, but yeah, that'd be something to think about. Maybe someday you're like, oh, let's do a rodeo team. But no, like a wrestling program, I think could be easily done. And probably wouldn't. I mean, but nowadays with NIL and the transfer portal and everything. And
I don't see them adding sports.
No, unfortunately not. No matter how inexpensive they are, they always have a final expense. Just because there's so much uncertainty. And I'm not talking about WT. WT, I think, is fine. Things will work out for WT if they stay in D2. I can see them. I can see them being in the UAC. If the UAC somehow manages to hang together. The Southland, I know I've had multiple conversations with different people. Like, the Southland would be perfect for WT. But I think D2 is also perfect too. And I know going all the way back when, it was Abilene Christian, and it was, and then it was A&M Commerce, and then it was Tarleton. And Tarleton will probably be, probably the next kids in line to get into FBS, which is insane to think about, because, when I remember going to, this was when UTPB was entering the LSE, and they hosted LSE Media Days. And it's really surreal to think that Tarleton was in that same room, as was Commerce. And, it's like, wow, like, what, like, conference realignment's weird. Like, it's weird.
Even going back, Abilene Christian, we had battles with Abilene Christian.
Oh man, they had battles.
Incarnate Word was in the conference for a little while, and now Incarnate Word is, the bigger brother in the small D1 world, and that's kind of where WT has lost some of our athletes to go over to Incarnate Word. And then Coach Bain also is going to be the offensive coordinator there next year. And good luck to him, and good luck to those players as well.
Agreed. Completely. But you know what? We need to give shout outs. I mean, because we're almost at the 2 hour mark. So
all right.
This will be our place to kind of give our flowers. I would say Kent Johnson. Kent Johnson, not only was he a great broadcast partner for you, Luke, and hopefully he doesn't stay, he's semi-retired rather than all the way retired. But I remember having a lot of really good conversations with Kent over the years. And then if I ever had a serious question, like concerning like anything related to like more of the administration, this is where I like to give Kent his flowers. Is Kent was always the first guy that would give me the phone call and give me a really clear explanation, and he was pleasant about it. I never got on his bad side, and thank goodness. But also, he's a fantastic guy. I can't praise him enough. Shout out to Brent Seals, Big Daddy B. We all know and love him as Big Daddy B. And he loves his Vegas trips. He loves going out there.
Loves the Red Sox.
He loves the Red Sox. And he's such a great guy too.
He is.
So yeah, I think this is our chance to really give the administration and the communications folks, their flowers. So
yeah, it's been a lot of fun for me to work with, and I've this will be year number 11 working with WT coming up for me here in the fall. So I've had a chance to work around a lot of really good people, and when Michael was there was a staff that was there for a long time, really good people that worked there underneath him, and Kent was one of those. And so Kent obviously had that role as the facilities director, and was in charge of a lot of things there. But I have gotten to know Kent as one of my really good friends and a broadcast partner, and he's just a true professional. He's a problem solver. He's going to figure out how to get stuff done, but does a great job. And I have a lot of fun with him every time we broadcast together. And then you mentioned Brent, just a go-getter. I mean, Brent's a hard-working guy. Does in the Division II world, you're not just going to do one area. You're going to wear many, 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 many hats, and that's what Brent does and does well. And then Doug Lipinski comes in and has kind of brought new people in the fold, and they've done an excellent job as well, kind of carrying the torch. I also want to mention while we're on here, Bryce Sheets.
Yeah, shout out Bryce Sheets.
Yeah, because Bryce is one of those guys. Bryce and Kent they joke with me. They say they're old enough to be my dad, but they've been my broadcast mentors for years and years, and I've had lots of fun with those guys. Bryce, along with Mike Roden, are kind of my high school connection, and then obviously I've done a lot of things with WT with Bryce as well. But my very first real broadcast, if you will, on the airwaves was as a freshman at WT, but I was working for the Texas Panhandle Sports Network, and I actually did that broadcast with Bryce. I think we did a Cap Rock level N high school football game, and so that's always a neat story for me, is to say after all those years, 27 years later, I'm still good friends with Bryce, and do a lot of games, do high school games, and then the WT games as well.
Right. And speaking of Bryce, I think it was a few months ago, I caught him at the Canyon Walmart. I was doing grocery shopping. He was running some errands for the wife, and
family man.
And Bryce is he's a true professional. Another great guy. Somebody that if I were to somehow be in a radio broadcast booth, Bryce and Kent Johnson, along with you, I'll lump all you guys together. Those would be, I was like, y'all would be the three people I'd be like, okay, all right, now I can survive in here. It won't be just two full minutes of dead air of me wondering what the crap do I do.
Well, and if you were to ever go on a road trip with the three that you just mentioned, including myself, it's a lot of fun. They provide the classic 70s rock music, and we have a really good time whenever we have a chance to go on the
road. That reminds me of a fun story. Just as long as Kent is able to catch his Purdue Boilermakers in action.
That is true.
Yeah, that
is true. And it reminds me, we talked earlier about UTPB. Tyler, you were there with Kale and I think on the tornado game, right?
Yep, the tornado game. Yep.
Where they were supposed to play Saturday. It was the very first home game for UT Permian Basin in their history. I mean, for the football program. And a tornado rolls in. Kale and I end up doing some weather reports but it was so close to the stadium that everybody had to evacuate. We had to go underneath the stadium. We're in the bathrooms of old Ratliff
Oh
Stadium,
man, Ratliff. Oh God.
and that was wild.
Very
We ended up
wild.
playing the game on Sunday. That was the only time I've done a college football game on Sunday.
On a Sunday.
Yeah.
And I'll enhance that a little bit. So ESPN3 was there because it was like UTPB's first like conference game, because they had a home game against like Arizona Christian, which is like NAIA. They easily beat them by like 40 points. But this was supposed to be the big showcase game. Like it was supposed to be.
They brought in a lot of people.
It was supposed to be. And had the game played on Saturday night,
right?
That would have been easily 20,000 people.
Yes.
At Ratliff Stadium, just to see UTPB for the first time. I remember, the weather rolled in because I remember it was hot. It was hot going in. Then the weather rolled in, and then as I was behind the phone, filming you and Kale talking about the weather and the latest developments.
Yeah.
We were able to see the funnel cloud, and I was able to kind of be like basically the cameraman and kind of pull in, and we saw the funnel cloud. And then like, they're like, okay, all right, everybody go into the bathrooms, and Kale, he's like,
Kale was ready. He was ready to get the heck out of Odessa.
He was ready. And he was like, Tyler, we are not dying in the Ratliff Stadium bathrooms, because I was planning on, hunkering down and just, hanging out with you. And Kale's like, we're going. So we hop in the rental car, and Kale is driving around Odessa, hitting curbs, like just, driving like a crazy man.
Now I'm picturing the movie Twister.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. And I was the courageous soul that went with him. But we ended up coming back because like the game ended up getting postponed. And I remember the following day, because we went into the main room, and ESPN basically just left in a hurry. Like they tore everything apart. Yeah. And we were like, oh man, this is bad. And I do remember the Ratliff Stadium press box, basically looking like, Friday Night Lights out of the late 80s. Like it was like stuck in time. Which it didn't leave a good impression on me, but no, like I remember we went in, I went down to go take photos. I was doing a little bit of photo work, and I remember like even at like 10 o'clock on a Sunday, it was like 120 degrees down on the field. And I come up and it hits me. Like I am just caked in sweat. And, I was just like, I definitely need some water. Like WT won that game. I remember WT won. I remember Ben Arbuckle played a little bit in that game. And then then it was good to see like guys like Austin Carson. Wow, that's a name. Mm-hmm. And then there was some really cool just that was that's like one of those things, like it could have been a near disaster, but it just turned into a good story at the end of the day.
Yes.
But I think we need to tell some more stories when I bring you back on, because we got a lot of stories.
Yeah, if you cover sports long enough, they find you, right? Like you're just going to have some of those fun nights, and sometimes it's not always have to do with the product on the field or on the court. It's the other elements that come in the way.
Right. Oh my gosh. So before we go, what would you like to plug?
Gosh, Tyler, I don't know if there's really anything that I want to plug necessarily, but just to tell you thank you for having me on. Thank you for being a good friend. And um, I love what I do. I love getting an opportunity to uh, broadcast. It's something that I wanted to do like legit since I was probably 7 years old, 8 years old, like just in the backyard playing games and like talking and having my own broadcast. So like I'm getting to do something that was a childhood dream. But I said it earlier when we started this thing. For me, the biggest joy of doing this for over 25 years is the people, is the relationships. I talked about Kent and Bryce and Mike and Kale and Lance and all those guys that I've met through broadcasting. It's no different. The coaches that I've gotten to meet over the years, the players that I've had a chance to interview and to cover and to develop relationships with. And then the best thing is for me in this area, Tyler, is the families, the parents of the WT athletes, parents of the high school athletes that you get a chance to meet, and they say, "Hey, thank you for covering our kid." That's what is always going to stick with me, and always going to make me come back the next year and be just as excited, because that's the cool thing about broadcasting is every game is new. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. Every season there's new players, there's new coaches. So it is truly a joy and something that I love to do.
Agreed. And I want to make mention of this is the Amarillo sports media scene is probably like, we're kind of a family that we keep including new members.
Right.
Every few years there'll be a new face. There'll be, somebody that kind of came up through the system.
Sure. The local TV, I mean, that changes a lot.
Yeah.
In terms of who comes in and out, and they all do a really good job. Like Clint just left, and he was here for a long time and is going to be missed. But you're exactly right about that. There's a lot of good people that come through and work in this area.
Yeah, absolutely. And the cool thing is nobody competes. All that matters is, hey, we're covering the kids and
sure,
making them look good. So yeah. So I'm gonna end it on this. Luke, thank you so much. It'll be really fun to get back in the saddle with WT once everything gets started up again. I know it'll be a matter of time before the fall practices start up, and I have to, I got to work on the old, hey, like here's how, or better yet, when we go to the LSE media days. Mm-hmm. That's always really fun. That's always a really fun event. And it takes place in McKinney, and McKinney Stadium is just, it's so new and grandiose, and it's gorgeous. It's
where the national championship is held,
and it's Texas to a T. Because there'd be no other type of high school, unless it's in Texas, that can host maybe that caliber of event in a high school stadium.
Right.
This has been the Unfiltered Podcast, Season 2. I think by the time this airs, episode 14. I'm always surprised how far I get on this thing, and when the number keeps adding up, I'm just like, okay, how did I get this far? Humble beginnings. Luke, thank you so much. Along with joining me, thanks for being a great friend. It's great where I can I could be like, hey, are you interested in being on the podcast? And then, lo and behold, 12 hours later, hey, we're making it happen.
That's right.
But, hopefully, for those who had the 4th of July, hopefully it was a great one. Hopefully there were plenty of fireworks. Hopefully you didn't burn off any fingers or hands or had any hospital visits. Enjoy a really nice, quiet, peaceful Sunday, unless somebody wants to pop off fireworks later on in the night. And then hopefully you guys have a good start to your week. So until next time, I'll see y'all very, very soon.